What's going on, collectors? Optical 20 here for another video review. This time it's Spider-Man Homecoming homemade suit version, and you can purchase this figure at bigbadtoystore.com. Just click the link down below, $4 shipping, and they double box your figure, so you make sure that not the box is dented and all that stuff, which is highly important if you're trying to resell the figure down the line. So now let's start off with the box. It's kind of like an unusual box for me because I was expecting the shoe type sort of box, but it's a bit fancier than I thought it would be. There's a magnet on the side. You open it up and there you go. That's the packaging. As you can see inside, that's kind of like the logo of the spider that he did have. You can see the influence of Tony Stark in his practically in his suit, but on this one, on the packaging as well, it's more of more futuristic, so to speak. And if we take a look at this accessories, he has a decent amount. So this is kind of like his holding hand on the floor, so you can see there, you can kind of stand it like that. And on the flip side, you can see the mechanics of his web shooter. This is not fisted hands. The fisted hands are on his hands right now. I would say the bigger opening one is where you're gonna put the mask, and on this one, it's a little bit smaller. This is where you're gonna put the other web, kind of like the curvy web, kind of the pulling web, so to speak. Of course, the shooting hand is not gonna be gone. You can see his traditional or his patented shooting motion, kind of like a rock signal. And we'll just get a little bit closer so you can kind of see the details that's inside of his shooter hand. It does have a little bit of a mechanic in there, and it looks like it's nicely done. The gloves that he used, nice paint application right there, as usual per Hot Toy standard. And moving along, you got abundance of webs. I don't know if you can clearly see it here, but I've had a lot of Spider-Mans, and this one's pretty pretty much standard web design outside of the curvy one. And I also like the inclusion of this splatter of web that you can input on the end of these webs, like this guy right here. I don't know if you can see a glimpse of it. But yeah, there's long ones, there's shorter ones, which is more of the end one is kind of more solid, but the longer one, the one that you're kind of pulling it, is I would say the star of these web, because you can do a lot of poses with them, especially if you're just taking pictures. For video, it's a bit harder because it's harder to see. This web right here, I would say, is the star of this guy's, because there's a lot of motion that you could do, and I like the inclusion of this web. I never really thought of them. I always thought of them as just it's out there, but it does help a lot when it comes to photo shoot and whatnot. And this splatter of web right here, it's endless imagination what you can do with this guy. You can have him if he's fighting someone, or you can put it at the end. I'm doing this one-handed, so I've been missing a lot. But yeah, you can attach this at the end of there's two webs that you can attach this on. So in total, I believe there are 4 webs in total, so that's pretty cool. It's transparent, so it's kind of hard to see, especially on your monitor, but it's there. It's a nice inclusion. It's a nice addition, so to speak. It's with Spider-Man, it's always gonna be there. It's a part of just the overall figure. And he comes with a bunch of eyes. The one that's already included, I would say that's the normal one. You got the squinty eyes, and the other two are kind of similar, the wide open eyes, and then the other one's kind of like a rectangular eyes. This one, you just it's not magnetized, but this one's not too hard. But I've seen reports where collectors have actually damaged the inside or snapped it, so you got to be really careful. Just take it slowly. Don't put any force in it. Just a little tap. If it doesn't go out for the first time, just get the cracks, the seams, and kind of insert your fingers in it, and it'll pop off. He also comes with this mask, which you can't put on the head sculpt. At least they advise not to. But it's just a nice prop, so to speak, so he can hold it when he's had a Peter Parker head sculpt on. It's a bit unfortunate that the eye section is cut out, because it's not supposed to be. You're supposed to have those eyes, but not a big deal. He's just gonna hold it. Of of course, this fantastic head sculpt, which we're gonna tackle on later. And the stand, Spider-Man Homecoming, it is more of a flight stand slash dynamic stand, but it does come with this it doesn't come with the typical base that we get for dynamics of stand. It just comes with a rectangular diamond shaped stand, which is, you know, I guess pretty good because it would just save you a lot of space in the detail. But at the same time, I'm kind of upset that they didn't include a normal stand, like a crotch grabber stand, kind of like what they did with Vision. You know, with this one you can move the cradle up and down, I guess, but at the same time the stem is still a bit longer, so it would show up top if you're just, you know, posing this Homecoming Spider-Man like in a normal pose, which I don't intend to do so because, you know, I'll do that with my regular Spider-Man. So, but still, overall, I would love to have that option. And as far as the suit is concerned, it's great. I mean, I like the variation that Hot Toys gave us, because if they didn't make this homemade suit, we'd be stuck with the other Spider-Man, which is not bad because that was my first Spider-Man of choice anyway. But this guy having this all fabric suit just gives you a ton of possibility for posing without having the fear of tearing the suit or damaging it. He does come with this web shooter, which is pretty intricate design. If I just want to get closer here, so this kind of reminds me of the Iron Man repulsor blast, you know, so to speak. You can remove it if you want to. I would not recommend it, but you can move it around. You know, there's a lot of details in it, as you can see there. And then there's a bit of I don't know if you can see it, not this guy, but on the other end, there's a bit of a hole which you can insert the webs that he does have. Moving down the figure, you know that his boots comes in two pieces. I wish they would have covered it in the fabric, you know, like boots. I like the fact that it's separated, but you can see there the Hot Toys, the sole of his shoe. You know, I always take articulation more than anything else, but I wish they used the same material so it's a bit more consistent. So I mean, because the upper part of the boot is fabric and then the lower part is, you know, plastic or rubber. Like I said, I do love the fact that I've always liked the fact that you can move it around. You know, it's not stiff, so it helps in articulation wise. But I wish that they cover that plastic with the same material as the top boot, so like, mostly fabrics, just so it's kind of seamless, so to speak, even though there is a gap. And as far as his you know, sweatshirt, you can see the sleeves is a bit cut off, kind of, you know, kind of reminiscent of a homemade suit per se, which is what the purpose of this suit is all about. You can see there comes this web shooter once again, so you can position it however you want. You can actually move it. You see his hoodie, that's his head. Moving down here, so the entire costume is it's not, you don't even need to stretch it. Doesn't need to be stretchable or anything like that. Even the mask, I like the fact that it is covered in fabric as well. So you got to be careful if you're holding it with the kind of oily hands or so. I wouldn't recommend it. Can you wash this one? You know, you can see the ears right there. You know, I'm gonna turn off the lights. You can see the you know, you can see some ears popping out there, which is cool. I don't know what's inside his mask. I wish somebody would cut it open. I know I wouldn't, you know, just to see maybe just nothing. There's no face in there or anything like that. So it will be just interesting to see. You don't see one of the complaints that I heard, it doesn't have a chin. I rewatched the movie on Blu-ray, but you know, I don't really notice it all that much. I'm sure it does have a chin. It just, you know, it's not protruding too much, but it's there. As far as the eyes, like I said earlier, you gotta be just a little bit careful and patient when it comes to the eyes. Mine came off quite easily, so I don't really need to. You can see that's how it looks without the eye. Could have they made it magnetic on, you know, I would say that on the regular Spidey, but on this guy, this is fine, because I believe it's a bit more bulky. So if you made it magnetic, it might come off easily, but with doing this, you just gotta be careful. You see, you can interchange the eye, so make him look like he's winking here. But yeah, I'm okay with how the eyes is portrayed in this one. So I'll just show you the different types of eyes that he does have. This is kind of like his squinting eyes. Kind of like, what's up, guys? You know, he's squinting. I still don't get how he made this. This is a boy, and what is the relevance of this eyes? Because I get it from the Deadpool standpoint. It's comedic, and you know, but with him, if we're trying to be realistic here, I mean, how does he said on the movie that you can see the details in there? It's like a honeycomb design inside, some wires. You gotta remember when you're inserting these eyes, these tubes are always upwards, the golden ones. So if you put them, if they're downwards, then you got the eyes upside down. So just keep that in mind. You know, there's a lot of details on this eyes as well. But yeah, he said he uses them to focus, which is great. But how is it? You know, I don't know. You know, it's I'm not trying to super analyze this Marvel movies, but I just in Deadpool it's funny, it works, but I don't know about Spider-Man. If trying to go for some realistic more stuff. But as far as when talking about realistic, the head sculpt is one of the best that I've seen from Hot Toys in recent memory. It's good, you know. He got some battle damage there. It's a bit random, you know, the battle damage, because when I watched the movie and was comparing, I was like, he doesn't have those damages. He has one on his nose, but not on his lip or anything. But you know, who cares, right? I mean, it's still a battle damage head sculpt. So I am buying the regular suit. It should arrive here by tomorrow, I'm assuming, if UPS is correct. That one doesn't have any battle damage, but regardless, if you are constructing a Peter Parker, you know, this you know, gives you option as far as head sculpt. So I'm glad that they you know, because they could easily reuse the head sculpt, but I'm glad that they kind of did this battle damage piece, so at least I have more options when my other Peter Parker arrives. See that? Oh my goodness, that is Tom Holland right there. You know, maybe the hair should have been a little bit more messed up, you know, just to give it a bit more of a distinction towards the other Spider-Man. You can put his hoodie, and that is more Tom Holland right there. Wow, I mean, this year, at the beginning of Suicide Squad, I would say Hot Toys has been killing it with head sculpt. I can't think of another release. Maybe Ripley. You know, people were complaining about that. But since last year, after I would say Suicide Squad, they've been on point with head sculpt. Even though, you know, like the Michael J. Fox, it's kind of softer. But they've been pretty good. You know, the details on the eyes. On you know, his scar on his lip, you know, I got some wounds out there, the texture on the face. But you know, Tom Holland is a really pale guy, so I'm superimposed right here. I'm really up close macro photography, or video, so you can see some of the details on his freckles and whatnot. But you know, if you're doing this real time, it really does look like a miniature actor. You know, and we're gonna throw him in a few poses before we wrap this thing up. So you know, I'm doing something different here, because with this figure, this is not the Ultimate Spider-Man that you're gonna buy. As a matter of fact, this is I would say a luxury that you would buy as far as this Homecoming Spider-Man, because let's be honest, the regular suit is so much better than this one. Because if you only have a money, you know, for if you only have a budget for one Spider-Man, I wouldn't recommend this. I would recommend the regular suit, because you know, you get everything else, you know, that you're gonna get from this guy. One thing that you're gonna get, I would say, if you could afford this, if you could afford two Spider-Man, this one has a ton of options as far as posing is concerned. I'm not saying the other Spider-Man won't. I'm sure it would. It looks like it is posable as well. But what you get here is peace of mind, because you can leave this guy in this sort of pose. You know, I saw this pose on Hot Toys website. You know, kind of like he's jumping up in the air, and actually leave him in this pose in your cabinet or in your display case for a long period of time without worrying that you're gonna mess up the suit. Let's be honest, even though the suit of Spider-Man, even the previous Spider-Mans are memory cloth or whatever, that it reverts back to its original, you know, form, you still have, if you are somewhat of a collector like myself, who's kind of worried that you're gonna, you know, it's gonna flake, it's gonna damage at some point, you take them away from that pose and go back to the museum pose. Well, with this guy, if you want to be, you know, if you want to have fun around him, I mean, these are fabric. So there's no, it's not even those fake leather or fake rubber thingies. And the fabric is stretchy as far as his arms is concerned. On his lower body, it has a lot of room. So there's tons of this is a more fun figure, I would say, than the other the regular iron suit or whatever you mech suit Spider-Man that you're gonna get from the other one. The other one's worth more than money, you know. It's more I would say practical. So this one you can see it here, you know, he's kneeling down, maybe he's pulling a car with that web of his, you know. There's tons of options. So if you're kind of guy that likes to pose his figures, not only for photography, because I'm sure you could do that with a regular Spider-Man, but to actually display it, you have more options. Get this guy, you know, you won't regret it. I know I haven't. I've had this guy for, you know, a week or so now. He's amazing, you know, he's really amazing. And on top of that, to be honest with you, I think I purchased this, you know, it came from Big Bad and it only came in after 3 days, and I got the regular shipping. And I'm not saying it's gonna arrive to you at the same time, but it's impressive because I ordered from a you know, because I've got some points in a different company, and it's been a week now and I still don't have the other Spider-Man. So you know, I'm just clearing out my points, and that's the last time I'm gonna get from them. But it's just amazing how $4 shipping is so much faster than a $20 one. And here he is, as you know, he's climbing up the wall. You use those hands that he comes with, so you know how to do that if you're just taking pictures and whatnot. It's fun pose to have. And here he is, size comparison wise, compared to these amazing Spider-Man 2, pretty much the same height, but I use Mark 46. I'm assuming there's the same height as Mark 47, only repainted, so he is really tiny. And my Mark 47 is not extended at all, you know, no torso, no ankles extension, so you can see the disparity there. I know Spider-Man's supposed to be short, but I don't know if he's supposed to be this short. And there you go, guys. That's the conclusion of this review. Thank you for watching. So hopefully it gives you an idea. I know some people doesn't have this on their radar, but it really is a nice figure. Like I said, but if you only have a budget for one, I'll make a comparison video as well. But if you decided to jump on this one, you know, you won't regret it. And if, like I said, if you do just decided to jump on this one, just click the link down below. It really helps me out, guys. Get it from Big Bad. You can see him, the dual shooter right there. I'm gonna move the box away because it's gonna hit it. So yeah, like I said, you can pose him like this forever if you want to, or pose him in a more dynamic way. Look at that. Look at the knees. It's double jointed. The elbows. There's tons of poseable options with this guy. And I don't know if we're gonna see a homemade suit again. This is sort of a genesis for this Spider-Man, because I really like this Spider-Man. I watched the movie. I wasn't too you know, I liked the movie, but I wasn't too drawn into it. But again, this is the birth of this Spider-Man, the Holland era, which is, I think it's gonna last, because I think he's the perfect cast for this one. He looks nerdy but also athletic, you know, with Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield. I think he's a better Spider-Man than Tobey, but he's a worse Peter Parker because he just looks like a jock. You know, he's more of a pretty boy. But Tom Holland has that nerdy, awkward look, but he's more athletic than the two. And also he cracks jokes as Spider-Man. So I think he's I hope he lasts as Spider-Man, because I think he's the perfect casting. And you know, like I said earlier, I don't think we're gonna see this suit again. So this is the homemade suit. The Batman Begins. When we look at the Bale costume, this is the genesis of I think an amazing run for Spider-Man. So you know, this is your chance, because down the line it's still available now, but a few years from now it's going to be sold out. I'm sure he's going to have tons of other options as far as costume, but this is going to skyrocket in price, I think, in a couple of years or so. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope you liked this video. Click your thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you haven't done so, and I'll see you in the next review.